Pretty big one that's coming out of this. I want to bring in Pennsylvania Congresswoman Allyson Schwartz. She is a member of the House Budget Committee. She joins me now from Capitol Hill. Good morning. It's good to see you, Congresswoman.
Good morning.
Look, here's what he said. He says, we need to absorb the fat from the influx of new retirees and the cost of insuring them. He says, unless we do this, all of these entitlement programs are going to go belly up. What do you make of his plan? What's the Democrats' response?
Now, look, it's really very, very clear that what the Republican plan put forward by Paul Ryan does yet again this year, as they tried to do last year, is three things. Well, it does many things, but I'll just mention three. It ends Medicare as we know it. We'll talk more about that, I'm sure. It actually shifts the burden, the tax burden, from the wealthiest Americans to middle-class Americans. It potentially increases the tax burden on the middle class, not a believe, and it does nothing to grow the economy. So this is a very sharp contrast. The Republican plan really, as you point out, takes a very different approach to reducing the deficit. The Democrats and the president are much clearer about wanting to reduce the deficit, grow the economy in a very different way. We want to do so in a balanced way by spending cuts, making sure government is more efficient across the board in all departments, while protecting Medicare and our obligations to our seniors and investing in our future through education and infrastructure and new technology.
Let me ask you about one of the specifics, because this is going to be a big part of the fight, I think, and that is taxes. Ryan points out that the majority of small businesses file as individuals. Under his plan, their rate goes to 25% instead of 45% in the president's plan. He says that will kill jobs. What's your reaction?
Well, you know, there are many of us, the president, the administration, and many of us in Congress would like to see a simplified tax code. We would like to lower the lower the corporate tax rate. But we really have to be very careful the way we do this. We want to grow small businesses, protect small businesses, make sure that they actually have, have a tax code that actually helps incentivize their growth. That's where new jobs begin. We recognize that. But you also have to understand what the Republican budget does. It reduces the tax rate for the wealthiest Americans while spreading the tax burden to middle-class Americans. It's the only way they can get to a 25% rate, which is to actually make sure that the middle class pays more by reducing or eliminating the deductions that so many middle-class Americans count on. Deductions for home ownership, deductions for paying for college, deductions for saving for retirement. These are very critical parts of the tax code. Again, many of us would like to work on this in a very transparent process, through the committee process, do it in a bipartisan way, but simply suggesting that you can reduce the tax burden on corporate America and on the wealthiest Americans. That's been their priority all year, as you know, and we had a big fight on protecting the middle class. That's what this real disagreement is about.
There's one other big one I want to ask you about in the time that we have left, and that is the deficit, and that is the debt. And both of these do add to the debt. And Treasury Department figures show that the federal debt under President Obama has increased more in his first 3 years in office than it did under President George W. Bush's 2 full terms. Here's what Republicans say. They say, look, there's going to have to be some tough choices made. And yes, there are going to be some cuts that are going to have to be made, but we have to do it. We have to make these tough decisions, and frankly, they say Barack Obama isn't willing to do it. What do you say?
Well, the fact is, you could have said the beginning of what you said as what the president has said. He has put forward a budget, honestly, that has really got some tough cuts in there. He's taking very seriously the need to cut spending where we can. Let's do it in a smart way, not just across the board. Let's meet our commitment that we have made with the administration and with our Republicans and Democrats to cut. We've already agreed to cut $2 trillion, and $1 trillion already done, another $1 trillion plus coming. But look, it's going to take us a while to get this deficit down and to get and to grow this economy. But you've got to do it in a balanced way. The Republicans are not doing it in a balanced way. They're really just taking it out of the hides of seniors and the middle class. That's not going to grow our economy. It's not what's made this country great.
Congresswoman Allyson Schwartz, it's good to have you on the program. Thank you so much.
Good to be with you.
I want to bring in the financial columnist for the New Yorker magazine, James Surowiecki. It's so good to have you here. I've already said that I'm a fan. I've seen you speak before. And here's why I wanted to have you here, because I saw you speak in front of a big group of people. New Yorker readers, so smart people. Nevertheless, when they hear all these numbers and they hear all these politicians, your head could